Going over the capital loss carryover worksheet for lines 6 and 14 of your Schedule D. So this happens to be the capital loss carryover worksheet for 2021 capital losses carried forward to the 2022 tax year. The numbers slightly change from year to year, but realistically the functionality of this form is the same. So basically you're looking for the prior year information on Schedule D, and then you're using this carryover worksheet to calculate any short-term and capital or long-term capital loss carryovers from the prior year that were not allowed to offset income. You're going to bring that here. So this would apply if your prior year Schedule D line 21 is a loss, and A, that loss is smaller than the loss on line 16 of your Schedule D, or B, if the amount from your prior year line 15, which is taxable income, would be less than 0 if you could enter a negative amount on that line. Otherwise, you don't have carryovers and you can skip this portion in completing your Schedule D. So if you and your spouse once filed a joint return, but now you're filing separate returns, then any capital loss carryover from the joint return can only be deducted on the tax return for the spouse who actually incurred the loss. If you excluded canceled debt from your income in the current tax year, then you need to refer to IRS publication 4681 for additional instruction. So we'll simply go through this step by step, and at the end we will have a short-term capital loss carryover and then a long-term capital loss carryover that you can enter into line 6 and line 14 of Schedule D respectively. So starting with line 1, you're going to enter the amount of taxable income from your prior year 1040. This should be on line 15. Now, if this would have been a loss, had you been allowed to enter a negative number, you would enclose that number in parentheses. So in this situation, we entered $80,000. And then all of these numbers basically are made up because they're coming from off screen, but the calculations are accurate in this worksheet. So the 2021 Schedule D line 21 amount as a positive amount happens to be the smaller of the actual loss or $3,000, whichever one was able to be entered into that. So we entered $2,000, and then we'll combine these items. And so in line 3, we have $82,000. In line 4, we're going to enter the smaller of line 2 or line 3, which happens to be $2,000. And at this point, if line 7, which represents your Schedule D short-term capital loss, if last year's line 7 was a loss, you would go to line 5 and complete that. Otherwise, you'll enter 0 on line 5 and then go directly to line 9 so you can calculate your long-term capital loss carryover. So in this situation, we're treating line 7, we have $5,000, and then we're going to enter any gains from that line 15. Those would be long-term capital gains. If they're a loss, you would enter 0, and then you will combine lines 4 and 6 to arrive at the number that you put into line 7. So in this case, $2,000, and then we're going to subtract line 7 from line 5. So if this were 0 or less, you would enter 0. But since this is $3,000, we will put that on line 6 of this year's Schedule D. Now, if line 15 of your prior year Schedule D was a loss, we'll go through line 9 and continue that way. Otherwise, your finished with completing this worksheet. So the loss from 2021 Schedule D, line 15, we're entering that as a positive amount here in line 9. We'll enter any gain from the Schedule D, line 7. However, since we reported a loss previously, we obviously don't have a gain for line 7, so that will be 0. And then we're going to subtract line 5 from line 4. This results in 0 or less, so we'll simply enter 0, and then we'll combine those two lines to arrive at 0. We're going to subtract this 0 from line 9, which means we have $5,000 that we would then enter into Schedule D as our capital loss. So really quickly, I'm going to give an overview of our Schedule D. And so you can see line 6 is the carryover from prior year. Line 7 would be the net short-term capital gain or loss. And then in part 2, we have line 14, which is the long-term capital loss carryover, and line 15, which is the net long-term capital gain or loss. So those are all the figures that we would use to come up with our carryover amounts, and then calculate the amount that you could put in this year's Schedule D. That's all we have for this video. You can check out our other worksheet videos. I'll put links to those in our video instructions. We'll also include links to our Schedule D article and our walkthrough. So if you have any other questions or comments, please post them in the comments section. And if you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. If you like our YouTube videos, then please comment and hit the subscribe button. And if you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you very much, and have a great day.